Welcome to the Growth Mindset Blueprint, your practical guide to rewiring how you think, learn, and grow. In this audiobook, we'll explore the core principles of neuroplasticity, embrace challenges as fuel, and learn how to shift from fixed thinking to a mindset built for long-term transformation. Whether you're starting fresh or deepening your self-work, this blueprint is your companion for change that lasts. Let's begin. Chapter 1. What is a growth mindset? Really? You've likely heard the phrase growth mindset before. It's been printed on posters, dropped into work meetings, and quoted in self-help circles. But what does it really mean? At its core, a growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and potential are not fixed. They can be developed through effort, strategy, and learning. This concept was pioneered by psychologist Carol Dweck. Through decades of research, she discovered something powerful. People who believe they can grow tend to outperform those who believe their traits are set in stone. It's not about empty optimism, it's about shifting your operating system from one that says, "I can't," to one that says, "Not yet." Let's break it down with contrast. A fixed mindset says, "I'm either good at this or I'm not. If I fail, I'm a failure." Effort means I'm not talented. A growth mindset says, "I can improve with practice. Mistakes are part of learning. Effort is how I get stronger." It's not about pretending things are easy. It's about staying open, about being willing to look at a challenge and think, "I can grow through this." Take, for example, someone who's always struggled with math. In a fixed mindset, they think, "I'm just bad at math." But with a growth mindset, that becomes, "I've struggled, but I can learn the patterns, get help, and improve." One mindset closes the door, the other cracks it open. This idea goes far beyond school or work. It touches every area of your life: relationships, creativity, physical health, even self-worth. In relationships, a fixed mindset might say, "I'm just not good at communication." A growth mindset says, "I can learn to express myself better." In health, fixed says, "I'm not the athletic type." Growth says, "I can build fitness step by step." And in your self-talk, a fixed mindset is often cruel. You're just not enough. Growth replies, "You're learning, you're evolving." What's powerful is that the brain actually backs this up. Neuroscience confirms what this mindset proposes. Your brain is plastic. It rewires based on what you do repeatedly. This means your beliefs, habits, and abilities are not static. They can change if you keep showing up. So why doesn't everyone embrace a growth mindset? Because it takes vulnerability. You have to be willing to stumble, to try, fail, and try again. That's uncomfortable, but it's also the secret to mastery. The next time you hit resistance, whether it's a hard task or harsh self-doubt, try this. Pause and say, "I'm not there yet, but I can grow." That small shift could change everything. Coming up next, we'll explore the brain science behind growth and how to rewire your beliefs at the root. Chapter 2. The brain that builds itself. You're not stuck with the brain you were born with. That might sound radical, but it's true. For a long time, science believed that the brain was mostly fixed after childhood, that by adulthood, your mental wiring was set. But today, we know better. Thanks to research in neuroplasticity, we now understand that your brain is constantly reshaping itself. Every thought, every action, every new experience sends a signal that literally changes the structure and function of your mind. Neuroplasticity means that your brain is a work in progress, a living system that responds to how you use it. Think of it like a path in the woods. The more often you walk it, the clearer it becomes. If you keep taking a new route, a fresh path forms. Your brain works the same way. Repetition builds the route. Attention strengthens the signal. Intention decides the direction. Here's the good news. This gives you real power. If you've struggled with procrastination, self-doubt, or bad habits, you're not just wired that way. You've practiced those patterns, maybe without realizing it. But the moment you start practicing something new, persistence, focus, self-trust, you're reshaping your mind. In one study, researchers asked people to practice piano scales for just a few minutes a day. After a few weeks, their brain scans showed visible changes in the areas linked to finger movement and coordination. That's without even touching a piano. Some participants only imagined practicing. Yet the brain responded. This shows how powerful your thoughts and habits are. They don't just influence your mood, they literally shape your brain. The takeaway? You're not trying to become someone different. You're training your brain to reveal more of who you could be. So how do you start? First, get clear on what you want to grow. Maybe it's confidence, maybe it's resilience, patience, or focus. Pick one. Then, practice small actions that express that trait. Want to build focus? Try 5 minutes of deep work without distraction. Want to strengthen confidence? Speak up once in a conversation where you'd usually stay silent. Each action is a signal, and your brain listens. Over time, those signals build a new default, a new pattern of being. It's also helpful to remember that change takes time. The brain loves efficiency. It prefers old habits, even unhelpful ones, because they're familiar. So at first, the new path feels uncomfortable. That's normal. Keep going anyway. Think of it like building a muscle. The first few reps don't seem like much, but done consistently, they create transformation. Another tip: pair your actions with belief. When you take a new step, name it. Say to yourself, that was me practicing patience. That was me strengthening focus. This reinforcement locks in the identity and helps your brain associate the action with your self-image. Remember, you're not waiting for change to magically happen. You're actively wiring it in. And you don't need hours a day. Even 5 minutes of deliberate practice can make a difference. The key is consistency. What you repeat becomes what you believe becomes how you act, and how you act becomes who you are. So yes, your brain is powerful, but you are the one in the driver's seat. Use that power, aim it at something that matters, and watch your mind reshape itself around the person you are becoming. End of chapter 2. In the next chapter, we'll look at how to stay resilient when growth feels slow, and why setbacks are actually signs of progress. Chapter 3. Setbacks aren't signals to stop. Everyone loves progress. We feel great when things are moving forward, when results are showing up. But what happens when you hit a wall? When the progress stalls? When effort doesn't immediately pay off? This is the make or break moment, and most people, they misread the signal. They think, this is too hard. Maybe I'm not cut out for it. If I were really good at this, it wouldn't feel this uncomfortable. The fact that I'm struggling must mean I'm failing. But in a growth mindset, struggle is not a sign you should stop. It's a sign you're doing something meaningful. Let's say that again. Struggle is not a red light. It's a growth signal. You're not failing. You're forming. You're building something new. A new habit, a new skill, a new response pattern. That process will always involve discomfort. It will almost always feel awkward before it feels natural. Think about a baby learning to walk. They fall constantly, they wobble, they crash. And yet no one says, well, guess you're just not meant to be a walker. We expect struggle. We see it as proof that they're practicing. You need to offer yourself that same grace. When you hit setbacks, the growth mindset asks different questions. What is this challenge trying to teach me? Where is the effort breaking down, and what can I tweak? How can I respond, not just react? This turns the whole experience of setbacks upside down. Instead of, this isn't working, maybe I'm not good enough. You start thinking, this isn't working yet. What's my next step forward? That one shift makes the difference between quitting and evolving. The truth is, every person you admire, anyone who's accomplished anything meaningful, has hit walls. They've failed, fallen, gotten rejected. What separates them isn't talent. It's tenacity. It's the mindset that says, this moment doesn't define me, but how I respond does. That's the growth path. Not instant success, not flawless execution, just showing up, learning, adjusting, and showing up again. Setbacks don't mean you're weak. They mean you're in the game, you're doing the work, and the longer you stay in motion, even imperfect motion, the more those challenges will start to feel like training grounds instead of stop signs. If this message resonates, consider subscribing to Be Believe Become TV. Every chapter, every upload is designed to help you grow, stay grounded, and become the person you're meant to be. You're not done, you're just getting started. Chapter 4. Redefine what success looks like. In a fixed mindset, success is about proving you're smart, talented, or naturally gifted. It's about getting things right, now, and with ease. But in a growth mindset, success is about becoming. It's about progress, not perfection. The problem? Most people grow up measuring success by outcomes, grades, trophies, promotions, applause. But if you let the scoreboard define you, you'll only feel successful when you're winning. The moment you slip, your self-worth crashes with it. So here's the shift. Redefine success as showing up with effort, integrity, and curiosity, regardless of the result. Ask yourself, did I give my best focus today? Did I lean into discomfort instead of avoiding it? Did I learn something I didn't know before? If the answer is yes, you succeeded, even if the launch flopped, even if the run felt slow, even if nobody noticed. Because real success isn't just what you earn, it's who you become in the process. This mindset unlocks consistency. You stop chasing external validation and start anchoring to internal growth. You focus on the reps, the habits, the mindset, not just the medal. Over time, ironically, this approach does lead to stronger results. Why? Because it keeps you resilient. You're less thrown by setbacks, more willing to try again, and more connected to your why. The goal is no longer to be seen as successful. The goal is to be someone who shows up, learns, grows, and repeats. When you change your definition of success, you free yourself to fully engage in the journey. Chapter 5. Identity, Self-Talk, and the Power of Yet. Let's talk about the quiet voice that runs your life. Not your voice out loud, the one inside. Your inner dialogue shapes your identity more than you realize. It doesn't just comment on who you are. Over time, it decides who you become. If you tell yourself, I'm not good at this, enough times, that's who you believe you are. But here's the shift. Growth mindset means your inner voice starts saying something different. It starts saying, I'm not good at this, yet. That one word, yet, is small, but powerful. It doesn't deny where you are. It just refuses to believe that's where you'll stay. Think about it. I'm bad at math becomes, I haven't mastered math, yet. I always mess up in relationships becomes, I'm still learning how to communicate. I freeze up when I speak becomes, I'm building confidence, one moment at a time. This isn't about blind positivity, it's about possibility. When you speak to yourself like a coach, not a critic, your brain responds. Studies show that self-talk, especially in the second or third person, activates the brain's emotional regulation centers. That means less panic, more power. Try this. When you hit a wall, pause and ask, what would I say to a friend in this moment? Now say it. To yourself. You've been here before. You're growing. You've got this. That's how identity shifts. Not in one lightning bolt, but through thousands of small self-statements. Every time you say, I can't, your brain closes a door. But every time you add yet, you leave that door cracked open. Over time, that's all it takes. One day, you walk through it. Summary. Your identity isn't fixed. It's narrated, and you're the narrator. Every sentence you speak inwardly is casting a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. Choose your words wisely. The most powerful one, yet. Chapter 6. The Power of Environment and Triggers. You're not just shaped by your mindset. You're shaped by your surroundings. And often, you don't even realize it. That's why two people with similar beliefs can get very different results. One has a growth environment, the other doesn't. Here's the truth. Your mindset is personal, but your environment, that's strategic. Let's break that down. 1. Environments either reinforce or erode your mindset. Ever notice how hard it is to stay positive around chronic complainers? Or how easy it is to aim higher when you're around driven people? That's not a coincidence. It's environmental gravity. Your space either lifts you or limits you. So ask yourself, who do I spend the most time around? What kinds of conversations am I regularly part of? What's visually in front of me every day? Screens, books, reminders? None of these are neutral. They're all silent scripts feeding your brain. 2. Triggers shape behavior, often unconsciously. In psychology, A trigger is anything that prompts a behavior. It can be a sight, sound, location, time of day, even a smell. Growth-minded people use triggers intentionally. For example, a post-it note on your laptop that says progress, not perfection. A phone wallpaper that reads keep going. A workout bag at your door that cues movement. A Slack channel full of people chasing better. These are identity anchors in disguise. We covered those earlier, but now we see their deeper role. They trigger rehearsal of your chosen mindset. 3. Shape your space, shape yourself. Your space is a script, so script it on purpose. Create a space where effort is praised, not mocked. Where questions are welcomed. Where not yet is normal. If you're working alone, that space might be your morning routine, your desk setup, your journal. If you're building with others, it might be a mastermind, a coach, a culture. Either way, design it. Don't wait for the perfect environment. Start shaping one where you are. Summary. Your mindset needs support, not just from within, but from the world around you. Be intentional about your environment. Let it echo your growth. Because when your surroundings align with your beliefs, progress becomes natural. Chapter 7. Habits that rewire your mindset. We've talked about beliefs. We've talked about biology. Now let's talk about behavior. Because the truth is, you don't become growth-minded by thinking. You become growth-minded by training. And the way you train your mindset is through habits. Let's explore how. 1. Habits shape identity, not just outcomes. Every time you show up and practice a small behavior, you're not just checking a box, you're casting a vote for the kind of person you believe you are. You don't need to wait until you feel confident. You build confidence by doing the reps. That's why tiny, consistent actions matter. Journaling 1 line a day, repeating 1 affirmation each morning, stretching your comfort zone by 2% each week. These aren't life-changing in one shot. They're identity-changing over time. 2. Build triggers and rewards. Habit science is clear. A habit sticks when it's tied to a trigger and followed by a reward. Let's say your goal is to reframe negative thoughts. Trigger. You notice a critical inner voice. Action. You say, that's the old script, let's try again. Reward. You feel lighter, more in control. Repeat that loop often enough, and rewiring begins. You're not trying to be perfect. You're trying to be consistent. 3. Stack growth habits to things you already do. This is called habit stacking. You take something you already do, like brushing your teeth, making coffee, or walking to your desk, and you attach a mindset habit to it. While brushing your teeth, say an affirmation. When your coffee brews, review your goal. As you sit at your desk, set a 3-minute intention. No extra time, just layered meaning. It's not about willpower, it's about wiring. 4. Track progress in terms of effort, not results. Most people give up on habits because they don't see instant results. But a growth mindset tracks something different. Practice, not perfection. Instead of asking, did this work yet? Ask, did I show up as the person I'm becoming? That's a habit worth keeping. Summary. Growth isn't a one-time breakthrough. It's a habit loop. Run daily, repeated deliberately, refined as you go. So stop chasing perfect routines. Start installing identity habits, because every rep rewires who you are. Chapter 8. Feedback is fuel. For most people, feedback feels like a spotlight. Bright, uncomfortable, maybe even exposing. But in a growth mindset, feedback isn't criticism, it's calibration. Let's reframe what it really is, and why you need it if you want to grow. 1. Feedback is data, not judgment. When you hear someone say, "You could have structured that better. This part wasn't clear. Here's a way to improve." Your fixed mindset might whisper, "You failed. You're not good enough." But your growth mindset says, "Thank you. Now I know what to tweak." It's not about your worth. It's about your process. Separate the person from the performance, and suddenly feedback becomes safe. 2. The most successful people seek it out. Top performers aren't feedback averse. They're feedback hungry. Athletes review game tape. Speakers rewatch their talks. Writers ask for notes. Musicians listen to their recordings. Why? Because they're not trying to prove they're perfect. They're trying to get better. and the shortcut to better is honest input. 3. The way you react to feedback reveals your mindset. Try this next time someone gives you a critique. Ask yourself, did I feel defensive? Did I shut down or lean in? Did I extract value even if it stung? That moment is a mindset mirror, and it's also a practice opportunity. Because the more you practice hearing feedback without flinching, the stronger your growth muscle becomes. 4. Not all feedback is equal. Growth mindset doesn't mean blindly accepting all opinions. Ask, who is this coming from? Are they invested in my growth? Is there signal in the noise? You're allowed to filter, but filter with curiosity, not ego. Look for truth, not approval. 5. Make feedback part of your system. Want to level up fast? Build a rhythm. After every project arrow ask, what worked, what didn't? With trusted people, arrow ask, what's one thing I could do better? For yourself, arrow reflect weekly. Where did I resist feedback this week? Make feedback routine, and it stops being scary. It becomes fuel. Summary. Feedback is not failure. It's forward motion, if you let it be. So the next time someone says, can I give you some feedback? Don't flinch, don't freeze. Just smile and say, yes, I want to grow. Chapter 9. Stay a student. You know who grows the most? Not the know-it-alls, not the naturals, not the ones with early success. It's the ones who stay students. That mindset, I am always learning, is what separates those who plateau from those who keep evolving. Let's unpack how to make that identity yours. 1. Curiosity beats certainty. A fixed mindset says, I should already know this. If I ask, I'll look dumb. I don't want to admit I'm behind. But a growth mindset says, if I'm asking, I'm learning. Every expert was once clueless. Curiosity is a strength, not a weakness. Stay curious, stay humble. That combo is unbeatable. 2. Learning isn't just academic. You're not in school anymore, but you're still a student. At work, learn how to communicate better. In relationships, learn how to listen better. In health, learn what your body needs. In life, learn from your mistakes. Growth mindset isn't about test scores. It's about staying in the game. Eyes open, ears open, mind open. 3. Ask better questions. When you hit a wall, ask, what am I missing here? Who's done this before, and how? What would I try if I weren't afraid? Better questions lead to better answers, and every question you ask proves you're still a student and proud of it. 4. Be teachable, even when you're leading. The most powerful people are still learning. CEOs have coaches. Creators learn from their audience. Mentors stay open to feedback. Teachable doesn't mean weak. It means wise. Say it with me. I don't know everything, and I don't need to. I just need to keep learning. 5. Celebrate learning, not just results. You finished a book. Celebrate that. You asked a hard question. Celebrate that. You tried something new and failed forward. Celebrate that. Because when you reward the process of learning, you reinforce the identity. I am a student of life. Summary. You never graduate from growth. There is no final diploma, no finish line, and that's not a flaw, it's freedom. So stay curious, stay teachable, stay a student, and you'll never stop growing. Chapter 10. You're not a label. Here's one of the most limiting beliefs a person can hold. I am this kind of person, and that's just the way I am. Labels can be comforting. They give us identity, predictability, a sense of place, but they can also become prisons. 1. Labels are learned, not fixed. No child is born bad at math or not a people person. No one is born lazy or shy or just not creative. These are stories we absorb, repeat, and eventually believe. But if a story can be learned, it can also be unlearned. And if it can be unlearned, it can be rewritten. 2. Language creates identity. When you say things like, I'm just not a morning person, I always procrastinate, I'm terrible at remembering names, you're not describing a moment, you're reinforcing a label, but you can shift the language. I'm learning to wake up earlier. I'm getting better at starting things on time. I'm practicing name recall every day. That subtle change moves you from fixed to fluid. 3. Your identity is flexible. By design, the most powerful mindset you can adopt is this: who I am is something I can shape. You're not just a collection of past traits, you're a sculptor, and your habits, thoughts, and actions are the tools. Even if you've worn a label for years, you can let it go. You're not your mistakes, you're not your history, you're not a label. 4. Write your own name tag instead of waiting for the world to label you. Create your own. I'm a learner. I'm persistent. I'm growing into someone I trust. This is identity by design, not default. And the more you live in alignment with that identity, the more real it becomes, not just to others, but to yourself. 5. Mindset isn't just a tool, it's a compass. At the end of the day, growth mindset isn't about motivation hacks, it's about direction. It's about becoming someone, not proving you already are. So ask yourself, who are you becoming? What identity are you rehearsing? Day by day, choice by choice. Because whatever that is, it's becoming true. Conclusion: you've reached the end of this series, but really this is the beginning. You now understand that your brain is changeable, that effort isn't weakness, it's strategy, that setbacks are feedback, that identity is flexible, that mindset isn't a trick, it's a foundation. So keep learning, keep growing, keep becoming. And if this message resonated, subscribe to Be Believe Become TV for daily tools, deep dives, and more guides like this to support your growth. Because you're not just watching a video, you're rewriting your story. And that story is just getting started.